All right, everybody. Good morning. Today's little project, I'm gonna change the oil in the main.
Welcome aboard. We are Pat, Alexa, and the newly 9-year-old Gilligan the Fat Boat Cat. We live aboard our 57-foot Nordhavn Noeta and are currently cruising and doing boat maintenance in the Gulf of California, Mexico. Salty Captain Pat is back for some spirited engine room talk as it's time to change the oil on both the engines and generators. You've been warned.
It's gonna be super exciting, I can tell you that. Coming down into the engine room, gonna kind of start just kind of getting everything organized a little bit. Got a little oil. This engine takes about 10 gallons. So there's one. I've got another one in the back. And then look at the size of this oil filter. This thing's a monster. Deere says with this filter on this engine, you can go up to 500 hours between oil changes. The only time I would do that is when you are like crossing the ocean. You're going to French Polynesia or something long, and then it's really, I don't think it's considered bad because the engine's running. So I would definitely not want to shut the engine down mid-ocean to change the oil. So like from here, or from the west coast of Mexico to French Polynesia is about 400 hours. So that would be what we'd be looking at if we're going to do that. So just going to get everything going. I've got a couple old buckets that I'll use to put the oil in. I'll show you in a minute. In the very back of the engine room, there's an oil change station, some valves, so I can take the oil from the main, from the wing, from the generators with a couple valves, and it'll pump it directly into the bucket or buckets that I have. It's pretty easy. Now, I never use that station to put oil back in because, essentially you're taking all the oil that's from the bottom of the pan, it's still in that hose, and then you're pumping it right back in. So I think it's better to add the oil, through the top of the engine. Or in this case, it's a little different engine. This is actually on the side. It goes directly into the oil pan. Never had an engine like that, but that's the way Deere designed this one. So just got to do that on this engine. And it's I'll be honest, a little pain in the ass because I have 5-gallon buckets. And with a funnel and the bucket, it's a challenge to get that oil going in there until that bucket, until you get a couple gallons out of it and that bucket lightens up. So Alexa is gone, so I'm going to see if I can rig up a system to do that before I actually start to change the oil, because I don't want to have the engine sitting here without oil in it. And then something happens and I got to move the boat. And it's just, you do something like that, it's a good idea to finish it. So stay tuned. I just ran it for about, 10 minutes, just to get the oil circulating, get a little heat into it, so the oil will, so that the oil can flow through the change manifold over there. And then I got the filter wrench. I've got some extra oil that I'll add to the filter because that thing is huge, and I don't want that engine running dry while it fills up the filter. So it's always a good idea to add a little oil to that filter before you spin it on. Try to get as full as you can. Obviously, makes it harder to handle it and spillage and all that stuff. So I just like to get as much as I can into it before I spin it on. So right now, I'm gonna go back and start draining some oil out of this thing. Follow me. This is pretty cool. That's the oil change. Oil change manifold. So there's the valves, that's the pump, and then there's the hose right here. It kind of comes in. I've just got a couple old containers. I think I have 3 or 4 of these things. So put the oil in. There's a place in town that'll take the old oil and recycle it. So I'll fill these up and maybe the next day or two run them into town and drop them so they can so we can get rid of the oil. So I'm going to start pumping the oil out. Bolt right here and the hose. So take that out. Just dipped it in, sitting in there. So That's about it. That's about all we can do. Let's see if I can get this over here. Maybe you can see a little better. Sorry, it's just a tough angle. This does make it pretty civilized to change the oil. Oh, I gotta turn it on too. Ha! Small technicality. Gotta go back to the breaker panel and turn this thing on. Hang tight. All right. Pump is on. It's just on the main breaker panel. So I'll start. There we go. It's coming out now. This is a very civilized way to change oil. The 50 had this on it as well. The 46 didn't, and our little Alban did not, so it was a little more of a process to change oils. So I like using Chevron Dello. I've had good luck with it over the years. Rotella, Shell Rotella is good oil too. Not as easy to source down here. I don't know why, it just is. I should have gloves on, but I forgot to grab them. Okay, there's that one. Gotta get my other jug out. Trying to do this without knocking the camera around. Alright, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna let the oil kind of settle into the engine because I did run it a little bit, so I'm just gonna stop there. Let some oil drain back down in the pan and then finish draining it. All right, back. Let this thing run a little more. Some more oil drained in to the pan because I ran it for a little bit. So just want to get all that oil out. So let this, probably do this a couple more times like this. And then I'm gonna, while we're letting that oil drain a little more, I'll go drain or take the oil filter off. That's always fun. All right, we'll let that drain a little more. I suspect we got some more oil up in the block still. This thing got torqued down. Listen, and I don't know where my other wrench went. All right, let's get the other filter. Put some oil in it. Alright, I just filled the new filter with new oil. Let me get in here, put this thing on. There we go. So I was looking earlier, John Deere says you can do 500 hours between fill-ups or between oil changes. They have all these little disclaimers and qualifiers and whatnot. Again, I would do it. Only on a long passage because the oil is not heating up and cooling down. It's not cycling in temperature, so that's where most of the degradation comes from. If you're just doing like going to French Polynesia, for example, or crossing the Atlantic, the oil is just like more or less at a constant temperature, and so it's fine to run that way. From like Puerto Vallarta to Hiva-Oa, it's about 400 hours on this boat, so no, we'd be fine. So the other thing I'm going to do is I will, so I'm not getting oil everywhere. But get some. I'll get some tape and put the 250 hour point on here. Kind of, I like to do the date and the time that the next oil change is due. So then I'll write it on the whiteboard as well. Usually I don't like using these 5-gallon jugs. They're just hard to maneuver, particularly on this way. This one, you have to get the oil into it. It only comes in on the bottom like this, so it's a bit of a fucker, because this is quite heavy. Kind of a slow process. I like this funnel because it's got a little screen on it in case a little junk falls in there. Like I just had a little, I don't know, looked like a little piece of plastic in there or something. Kind of hard on the back too. I gotta stop every once in a while just because my back just starts to hurt after a minute doing this thing, man. I don't like using the 5 gallons, but that's all I could source down here this time. If I could find the 1 gallon jugs, it's a lot easier. But again, you know, they had like 1 or 2, and then they'd order some more, and it's just like, it's really, really, I don't know why. They just don't get them down here. At least here, I've had luck in Vallarta. By myself, I can't see the bottom of that filter, the funnel. So I just lost a little bit. That's why we have the oil mat. A little easier on Alexa's here because she would see that, tell me to stop. But she is house sitting for our oldest and their golden retriever, Sadie. So she's up in the bay right now. I'm going to do some projects, kind of like this. Then I'm going to catch up with her before I go to work. Spend a couple days up there, and then go to work, come back, do some more projects, because we're now starting to get the boat ready to cross back over to Vallarta. So start with fresh oils, filters, fuel filters, all that. I have to do the belt on the wing engine, but that's turning out to be a lot more complicated. There's a coolant hose in front of the fan shroud, so I got to take that off, which means I'm going to lose some coolant, which means I got to have some more John Deere coolant. So nothing's easy. I have 1 more bucket to go too. Definitely earned my mezcal today. Dipstick. It's just starting to show, just on the bottom. So, come on. Funnel in the way makes it a little harder. All right, 1 more bucket. That thing, oh, that was ripping my fingernail off. Oh, come on. Me. The part holding the whole bucket together here. Me. What the you guys? I need a knife. open this. Part holding the whole bucket together. Ah, good Lord. There. I don't know if that counts. All right. More oil. Right. Son of a getting more everywhere but in the engine. I don't like this setup, Deere. Put it up here on every other engine made in the universe. This is Hey, look at getting a little oil pump or something if I can't find these 1 gallon containers of this. Let's see how we're doing here. To the add line. We're getting there. Yep, we are full. I gotta get an electric oil pump or something. All I'm gonna have are these 5 gallon containers because, oh my God, that is something else right there. I just have a like an old trash can full of, is where I keep all this stuff. It's down here in the engine room. One other thing, don't forget to put the cap back on. Just look around. Is everything happy? Let's see, I have some degreaser I'm going to go get. A trash bag. All right, I'm going to start it. Okay, we're going to change the fuel filter. Now, this is the on the engine fuel filter. Pretty cool. It's just in this canister. And you just slide it out. Looks like it's probably due. Not like the smell of diesel in the afternoon. I'm just using the old oil rags from the oil change. So we'll take it out. Let's make sure it looks the same. Oops. Yep, looks the same. One thing Deere says is there's a fill line somewhere in here. It's a little pump filling up the housing. The line right here. Fill it up too. Well, sorry. Thought I was filming, but I wasn't. After a lot of plunging, I got the filter back in. There's 2 lines. There's a min line and a fill line on a center tube. So I kind of split the difference, or I went the top 2/3, and now it's in there. Now I'm going to go start it. Hopefully it does, hopefully it runs. Hey, well, it started, so that's good. Right. She's running. She is running. That is good. You can see it. You see fuel pressure. So that's good. It's been that pretty much the whole time. So let her sit here and idle for a minute and make sure it works. All right, another engine oil to change. I'm gonna do the wing today. So I'm coming up here. I'm just gonna start it, run it for about 5 minutes or so, just to get the oil warmed up, let it circulate a little bit, and then I'll let it cool down, you know, so that'll be another 20-30 minutes, but get that oil warmed up so it flows easier and I can get most of it out of that engine. So I'm gonna start the wing and let her run for about, I don't know, 5-10 minutes or so. Oil pressure, so it's running. I'm just gonna go check, make sure there's water. You can hear the water flowing. So it started at about 9:33. So just let it run here for 5-10 minutes, let it heat up a little bit, and then go down. Well, let it cool down a little bit because it's hot. And then what we'll do then is, you saw how I did the main. We have the oil service, that pump, so we'll just drain the oil out of the wing and change the filter, add oil, and then I'm also going to do the fuel filter because it's been a little while. So, okay, one of the things I do in addition to the whiteboard, I put tape on there. So this is when the wing oil will be due. I also have them ready. I haven't put them on yet, but here's the fuel filter and the oil for the main engine. So put those on, and I'll make a note on the whiteboard just for the big picture, but specifics right here, right on the filter, adjacent to the filter. All right, here we are again. Change, this is the wing engine, so we're going to change that oil. Oil and filter, do it all at once. These are old oil canisters, or old jugs that actually were on the boat just for this very purpose. So we will do this. Up there. Close that. We don't want that. Wing engine open. And start sucking oil. Boom, there we go. So I you know, because it's upside down, righty tighty, lefty loosey. So we're gonna go this way. Just like that. A lot of oil in there. Yuck. 59754. I like to add oil to it. That way the engine doesn't run dry. Alright, I have a vice grip over there that I use just to kind of hold it in place. Since Alexa's still gone, so I don't want to spill like a thing of oil everywhere, you know? Okay, hand tight, and then just like a quarter turn. Other way, other way. I don't think that's going the right way. This is the oil. I just put in the filter. There's a little bit left. There we go. That there, because there's a little bit of oil in that thing. Now, I don't have to do precision bombing. Okay, stop right there for a minute. Kind of see where we're at. I don't want to overfill it. So, little under is just a little under is way better than over, because the crankcase would sit in that oil and whip it, and not whip it good. I mean, you guys out there get that joke. Okay, add a little more. Let's that oil percolate down a little more. I'm gonna paint this engine this summer. I'm gonna get a new oil or air cleaner as well. This one does not hold nearly as much as the main. But this one's not gonna run like the main. I mean, the main's designed to cross oceans. It's a commercial continuous duty engine. I mean, these things, they're legendary. These Deeres are legendary. I mean, this block, this engine's been in tractors probably, I mean, there's ones out there since I was a kid still running around, so. It looks like we're right at the add mark thereabouts, so let's see. You know, just below, I think it's like a full, it's like a little band with hash marks, so that's kind of the range you want to be in. Do this, put the tape on the filters, update the whiteboard, and then the generators. I got new impellers for those. They're coming because there's some ones that previous owner had, but I'm a little leery to use them because I don't know how old they are. So you saw what happened with this thing when it failed. So at the bottom of the hash, I'm gonna let it sit there for a while. It's oil drain down into it, and then we'll go from there. All right, hit Fleet Guard oil filters, which I like better. They're the Cummins brand. So put those on, and now I'm just putting oil in. Funnel, again, this is Alexa here. It's a little harder to do and film. So, I mean, just adding oil at this point. So we'll do this and then we'll fire it up. Yeah, I don't like these filters on the side. And they must be all right. I mean, they're on here, but when they pretty much drain when it's shut down, and then you got to they refill when you start it. It's just a little lag in the whole system, and you know, I don't know. Seems okay, but it's just one of those things that I don't care for. Plus, it can be messy. Although this one wasn't bad, and one of the neat things is they built a little drip tray here. So I just had a little plastic bin and an oil mat underneath here. Fortunately, there wasn't much oil that came out, so they have thought this through. So letting the oil seep down, check the quantity, and then add more as needed. Okay, everything's buttoned up. The quantity is showing just a hair high, but that's because there's no oil in here. So we're gonna start it. I was counting. There's a preheat. Oil pressure. No leaks. There we go. Oil is serviced. She runs pretty good. Shut off. This is the shut off the fuel. You just hit the button once. Shuts the fuel flow off and the thing dies. It shuts off. That easy.
All right, so Pat changed the oil, which I'm very happy with. And then while I was out of town, which was great. And then I came back in town and I have all this oil to get rid of. So I'm gonna go find a spot to get rid of it. We looked all over and asked a bunch of questions about in town. We're not entirely certain that there's anywhere free in town to dump it. There is a shipyard and a fuel station up here, so I'm gonna lug it up there and see if they'll take it off my hands. So that's the project today. These are just empty ones. All right, that's it. All right, got my wheel. Off to the fuel dock. Let's see what they say. All right, in the end they took it. It was 23 pesos a liter. I had 15 gallons, which came out to about 56, 57 liters. So it came to about $65 or so. They said there wasn't anywhere free to do it in town. I may have been able to drive around a little bit and found a free spot or a cheaper spot, but they have the convenience of it was just easy here. So anyway, they've got the old oil. I kept the square buckets, gave up the round ones. These square ones are good with lids and things for the next oil change. So anyway, that project is done.